Wake up, rise up, Mell, be on the line. News, weather, truth, she delivers on time. Affirm your power, let the doubt unwind. Kickstart your soul, let your purpose shine. She don't just talk, she sparked the flame from 7 to 8. She runs the game, Jamaica to New Orleans and all the world. The vibe don't sleep. Mell B drop gems while the world counts sheep. No fluff, no cap, just facts and fire. Affirmation flow that lifts you higher. Wake up, rise up, Mell B on the line. News, weather, truth, she delivers on time.
Grand Rising, y'all. It's your girl Mell B live on Lux Radio Network, and it's Thursday, February 19th. It's Throwback Thursday. So today is your reminder that every chapter you survived prepared you for the greatness you are stepping into now. So celebrate your growth and let's rise up together. All right, on to our affirmation of the day, and it is as I read. I release what no longer serves me and make room for what elevates me. Today, this affirmation helps us to let go of old stories, old habits, and old energy. It's a reset button disguised as a blessing. All right, our word of the day is resurgence, which is a noun, and it means a rising again, a revival of strength, energy, or interest. So today's word, this is your comeback season. Your rise, your return, your reminder that you've never been counted out. And our slang word of the day is 8, to perform impressively or perfectly, to excel. Whatever you do today, make sure you ate and left no crumbs. So work to your perfection. All right, on to news around the world. First up, we have our U.S. national news, high-stakes diplomacy in Georgia. The president is visiting Rome, Georgia today to campaign for the 14th Congressional District special election. The visit is making waves as it is his first trip to the state since the federal agents recently seized Fulton County's election records. Epstein investigation widens. Massive news out of Europe today as Britain's Prince Andrew was reportedly arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Simultaneously, France has launched a wide-ranging human trafficking and fraud probe into contacts of the late Jeffrey Epstein. And in Black History Month White House reception, National Education Initiative today aimed at preserving, oh my goodness, technical difficulties. National Education Initiative today aimed at preserving and digitizing historical archives from the civil rights are unveiling in the Bronx. Here. All right, the community event there today is the Creative Movement of Muslim Futurism, a final day gallery showcase at the Brooklyn Museum exploring contemporary art and technology. Los Angeles. UCLA researchers are presenting new findings today on a shifting El Nino cycle, warning that Southern California may face an unusual wet spring season. Zocala Public Square Discussion is the community event there today. It's a community forum tonight in downtown LA focusing on greenery for all and urban park equity. All right, Chicago. A local GoFundMe for a West Chicago teacher has sparked a massive citywide debate today over free speech and educator conduct on social media. The Lunar New Year Lantern Parade is the community event there in Chicago today. It's a family friendly celebration through Chinatown featuring traditional music and community dancers. Atlanta, all eyes are on Rome, Georgia today for the presidential visit, but locally, the Fulton County elections hub remains under scrutiny following the unsealing of FBI raid affidavits. Atlanta's community event is the Beltline South Side Trail Forum, a public meeting tonight at 6:30 for residents to review the final design phases of the trail's expansion. Houston. The Houston Chronicle editorial board released their final list of best and worst candidates today ahead of the March 3rd primary, fueling heated local politician discussions. Their community event there today is the Space Center Houston NASA Eclipse Briefing. Scientists are hosting a community walk at 1 p.m. today to discuss data from yesterday's solar eclipse. Washington, D.C. Following last night's Black History Month reception, the Smithsonian is hosting a public Freedom Papers display today, featuring our rare 19th century manumission documents. DC's event of the day is the afternoon Bach at the Cathedral, a free community concert series at the National Cathedral, providing a midweek cultural break. Miami. Miami-Dade officials are reviewing a blue-green infrastructure plan today, proposing massive mangrove replanting as a primary defense against sea level rise. Miami's community event today is the South Beach Wine and Food Festival preview, community-led cooking classes at local parks ahead of the weekend's main festival. Tampa. The USF researchers are presenting a breakthrough today in seasonal water storage technology aimed at ending Tampa's annual drought-related watering bans. Tampa's event of the day is the Florida State Fair, Student Innovation Day, a showcase of high school robotics and sustainable farming projects at the fairgrounds. Newport Richey. Good morning, Dad. Pascal County officials are meeting today to discuss a proposed expansion of the Coatee River conservation zone to protect local manatee habitats. Newport Richey's community event is the Pascal County Fair. The fair continues today with 4-H agricultural competitions and local craft demonstrations. Milwaukee. Good morning, family. Milwaukee County Parks is hosting a formal hearing today on the Modern Wonders Project, a plan to revitalize the city's historic botanical conservatory. Milwaukee's community event today is the Garden Train Show, Modern Wonders, a popular community exhibit at the Mitchell Park Dome starting at 9 a.m. Vancouver. The Port of Vancouver is announcing a new Pacific Green Corridor agreement today, aiming to electrify all cargo handling equipment by 2028. Vancouver's community event today is the Push International Performing Arts Festival, contemporary theater and dance performances at various venues across the city. Toronto. Toronto City Council is voting today on a new digital rights charter to regulate the use of facial recognition by private businesses in public-facing spaces. Their community event there is the Winter Stations 2026. The interactive art installation at Woodbine Beach continues to serve as a major outdoor community gathering spot. Bless up, Jamaica. Kingston. Minister Desmond McKenzie announced that new public hand washing and sanitation stations are being permanently installed across Kingston today as a part of a Healthy City initiative. Kingston's community event is the Reggae Month, Children of the Icons, a tribute concert at the National Gallery of Jamaica featuring the offspring of reggae legend.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We will be back in 1 second. She had to restart her device, her computer, so that it works well. She'll be back on in 1 second. Good morning. I hope everyone is having a blessed Thursday.
All right, everyone. Sorry about that. Toronto. Toronto City Council is voting today on a new digital rights charter to regulate the use of facial recognition by private businesses in public spaces. Toronto's community event today is, I think I did this already, the interactive art installation at Woodbine Beach, Winter Stations 2026. Jamaica. Minister Desmond McKenzie announced that new public hand washing and sanitation stations are being permanently installed across Kingston today as a healthy city initiative. Kingston's community event today is Reggae Month, Children of the Icons, a tribute concert at the National Gallery of Jamaica featuring the offspring of reggae legends. Montego Bay. The International Conference on Education Law concludes today with a final report on improving data privacy for students across the Caribbean. Their community event today is the Bioinformatics for Biomedical Sciences, a global science summit wrapping up today at the Montego Bay Convention Center. Ocho Rios, independent Jamaican artist Kesnamdi, is being celebrated locally today following his recent Grammy win, which residents are hailing as a victory for independent Caribbean music. Ocho Rios Street Art Fair is their community event there today, a community gathering in the town center featuring local painters, sculptors, and live acoustic music. Negril. The Cliff Hotel and Spa in Negril is making headlines today after unveiling a $20 million reinvention that focuses on 100% sustainable limestone construction. Negril's community event today is the Negril Reef Restoration Workshop, a public volunteer event on the beach teaching residents how to help with local coral outplanting. Cayman Islands. The Cayman Islands Cabinet has approved new tokenized fund regulations today, a move intended to make the islands a global hub for digital asset management. Cayman Islands event today is the 57th Annual Agriculture Show, a massive national tradition celebrating local factory, food security, and heritage. Nassau, the Bahamas. The Bahamas government is signing the Country Cooperation Strategy 2026 with the Pan American Health Organization, or PAHO, PAHO today, locking in a multi-year plan to strengthen the nation's health systems. Nassau's community event today is the Junkanoo Heritage Workshop, a hands-on event at Marina Village teaching the history and drum rhythms of the Junkanoo tradition. Nigeria. The historic Agungu Fishing Festival returns today after years-long pause, drawing thousands to the Matanfada River for the traditional contest. Nigeria's community event is the Social Media Week Lagos. Today's sessions focus on the future of fintech, Nigeria's digital dollar, and beyond. Ghana. Ghanaian officials are monitoring moon sighting reports today to determine the official start of Ramadan for the nation's Muslim community. Community event there is the Africa Aquatics 2026. Regional swimming championships continue at the Trust Sports Emporium and Accra. The Netherlands. The Netherlands has officially been named the host for the 2026 Solheim Cup. Golf officials are in the country today to begin site inspections at the Bernardus Gulf. The community event there today is the Rotterdam Floating House Tours, public tours of new modular floating homes designed to combat rising sea levels. Vietnam. Hanoi's Digital Ancient Quarter project begins its public archive phase today, allowing residents to view 3D renders of the city's historic architecture. Vietnam's community event today is the Hanoi Spring Flower Festival, the final week of celebrations in the Hon Kiem district, featuring rare orchids and traditional calligraphy. France. French transport police are beginning a trial of stun guns on trains and the Paris metro today, an experimental move aimed at increasing public safety scrutiny. France's community event is the Carnaval de Nice, Paradise of Lights, an illuminated nighttime parade along the Mediterranean waterfront. Germany. The German domestic spy agency released its annual report today, warning of a significant rise in right-wing extremism and political polarism within the country. Germany's community event today is the Berlin International Film Festival. The festival continues with public screenings of independent European films across Berlin. India. The New Delhi is hosting an AI Impact Summit 2026 today, where PM Modi is expected to announce a new national AI for Farmers initiative. India's community event today is the Hampi Heritage Festival, a cultural celebration at the UNESCO or UNSCO World Heritage Site, featuring traditional dance and light shows. Trinidad. Tourism officials are reporting record-breaking visitor arrivals today for the 2026 Carnival season, leading to the activation of the Carnival Safety Roadmap. Trinidad's community event today is the Pan Yard Vibe. Final rehearsals tonight for the island's premier steel pan orchestras ahead of the Panorama Festivals. Barbados. The Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations of Barbados is publicly chiding in on the government today for a lack of consultation on recent labor policy shifts. Barbados community event today is the Whole Town Festival, Folk Day, a celebration of Barbadian folk music, traditional costumes, and Bajan culinary heritage. All right, on to our weather. New York. Let's see, cloudy with a chance of light snow today, with a high of 41 and a low of 33. Los Angeles, sunny with a high of 58 and a low of 43. Chicago, sunny with a high of 56 and a low of 37. Atlanta, cloudy with a high of 65 and a low of 53. Houston, cloudy with a high of 77 and a low of 65. Washington, D.C., partly sunny with a high of 44 and a low of 35. Miami, mostly sunny with a high of 75 and a low of 70. Tampa, mostly sunny with a high of 74 and a low of 64. Newport Richey, partly sunny with a high of 74 and a low of 63. Milwaukee, sunny with a high of 55 and a low of 32. Vancouver, showers today with a high of 44 and a low of 35. And Toronto, overcast with a high of 35 and a low of 30. Kingston, light rain today with a high of 82 and a low of 68. Montego Bay, sunny with a high of 82 and a low of 73. Ocho Rios, mostly sunny with a high of 80 and a low of 71. Negril, sunny with a high of 82 and a low of 76. Cayman Islands, sunny with a high of 79 and a low of 78. Nassau, mostly sunny with a high of 75 and a low of 69. Trinidad, Port of Spain, partly sunny with a high of 86 and a low of 74. Bridgetown, Barbados, partly sunny with light showers with a high of 84 and a low of 76. Nigeria, Lagos, scattered thunderstorms today with a high of 91 and a low of 78. Ghana, Accra, cloudy with a high of 89 and a low of 78. Netherlands, Amsterdam, cloudy with a high of 37 and a low of 32. Vietnam, Hanoi, cloudy with a high of 70 and a low of 63. France, Paris, Partly sunny with a high of 52 and a low of 45. Germany, Berlin, light snow with a high of 31 and a low of 22. And India, New Delhi, light rain today with a high of 71 and a low of 56. Okay. Sports. Let's get on to our sports section. All right. Baseball. Spring training openers are scheduled for tomorrow, Friday, February 20th, and the NBA season resumes tonight, February 19th. In college basketball, in the men's, we have St. Louis over Rhode Island, Rhode Island over St. Louis, 81-76. We have Mississippi State over Auburn, 91-85. We have Kansas was over Oklahoma State, 81-69. Virginia over Georgia Tech, 94-68. Missouri over Vanderbilt, 81-80. That was a close game. Illinois over USC, 101-65. And Gonzaga over San Francisco, 80-59. In women's basketball, we had UConn over Villanova, 83-69. Northwestern and Michigan State, 104-68. Minnesota over Ohio, 74-61. In international soccer yesterday, we had Newcastle over Karabakh, 6-1. There was Bayer Leverkusen over Olympiacos, 2-0. We had Buda Glimt over Inter Milan, 3-1. We had a tie of Buga and Atletico Madrid at 3. Also another tie between Arsenal and the Wolves, 2-2. And we had in women's soccer, we had Real Madrid over Paris, 2-0. In cricket, there was, let's see, India 193 for 6 beat Netherlands 176 for 7 by 17 runs. You had Pakistan beat in Namibia 199-97 by 102 runs. West Indies beat Italy 165 over 6 to 123 by 42 runs. And South Africa beat UAE 123 over 4 to 122 over 6 by 6 wickets. Right, in Jamaica soccer, we have the postponed game between Molines and Treasure Beach that was postponed. Tivoli Gardens and Arnett Gardens will be rescheduled for today. And Harborview and Mount Pleasant were postponed due to heavy rain in the region yesterday. So today in sports, we have in the NBA, we have the Nets and the Cavaliers will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Yes and Fubo. We have the Pacers and the Wizards at 7 p.m. on TV Monumental and Bally Sports. We'll have the Hawks and the 76ers at 7 p.m. on Bally Sports and NBC Sports Philly. We have the Rockets and the Hornets at 7 p.m. on Space City and Bally Sports. The Pistons and the Knicks will be at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on MSG and Bally Sports. The Raptors and the Bulls will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sportsnet and NBC Sports Chicago. The Suns and the Spurs will be at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on AZ Family and KENS. We have the Magic and the Kings will be at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Bally Sports, NBC Sports California. The Celtics and the Warriors will be at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on NBC Sports Boston and NBC Sports BA. The Nuggets and the Clippers will be at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Altitude and Bally Sports. In college basketball, men's, we have Memphis versus South Florida will be at 7 p.m. on ESPN2. UNC Asheville versus High Point will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPNU. Tulane and North Texas will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN Plus. Women's basketball, we have Florida versus Mississippi State will be at 7 p.m. on SEC Network. Also, North Carolina State and Duke will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ACC Network. And Texas A&M and Tennessee will be at 7 p.m. on ESPN. All right, in international soccer, we have the women's Juventus versus Wolfsburg will be at 12:45 Eastern Standard Time on DAZN and YouTube. And also Manchester United versus Atletico Madrid will be at 3 p.m. and that will be on DAZN and YouTube. Cricket, we have Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe would be at 4:30 a.m. on Willow TV, and Afghanistan and Canada will be at 8:30 a.m. on Willow TV and Sky Sports. In Jamaica soccer, we have Harborview and Mount Pleasant will be at 3 p.m. today on Sportsmax. Arnett Gardens and Tivoli Gardens will be at 5 p.m. tonight on Sportsmax. In the NFL, the scouting combine begins next week. And like I said, baseball spring training starts tomorrow. All right, on to Tay's Sport Fact of the Day. The topic is the first real dynasty of the NBA. Now, everyone loves to argue about dynasties, the 90s Bulls, the Stephen Curry Warriors, or the LeBron era. But if we want to talk about the blueprint of winning, we have to go back to the day like today in 1952. While the NBA was still finding its footing, one man was literally changing the rules of the game. We're talking about George Mikan and the Minneapolis Lakers. Most people don't realize that the NBA actually had to widen the lane from 6 feet to 12 feet just to stop Mikan from scoring at will. It was called the Mikan rule. On this stretch in February 52, Mikan was leading the Lakers toward their 4th title in 5 years. He was the first true big man. He wore those iconic thick glasses and basically invented the Mikan drill that every kid in middle school still does today to learn how to lay up with both hands. So here's the kicker for those sports bar debates. Before the Lakers were in sunny LA, they were in the land of 10,000 lakes, Minnesota. They won 5 championships there before they moved. So when you see the Lakers hanging 17 banners in the rafters today, remember that the Lakers' first 5 weren't won by Magic or Kareem. They were won by a guy in Minneapolis who was so dominant, the league had to physically change the dimensions of the court just to give everyone else a fair shot. So that's your sports fact today. So if you're hitting the court today, work on that left hand because George Mikan is watching. All right, on to our daily feature for Throwback Thursday. We are spotlighting the golden age of Greenwood. We often talk about the tragedy of 1921, but today we're shifting the lens. Before the smoke, there was a symphony of success. Did you know that Black Wall Street wasn't just a nickname given by Booker T. Washington? It was a 35 square block masterclass in economic independence. It started in 1906 when a visionary named O.W. Gurley bought 40 acres of land in Tulsa. He didn't just build a house, he built a haven. He sold plots exclusively to other Black entrepreneurs, and by 1921, this separate city was home to 10,000 residents and over 100 thriving businesses. They turned segregation into a shield, creating a dollar circulation loop where a single dollar would change hands up to 19 times within the community before leaving. So let's talk about the heavy hitters. You had J.A.B. Stratford, who built the Stratford Hotel. This wasn't a roadside motel. It was the largest Black-owned hotel in America, valued at $75,000 back then. That's over $2.5 million today. It had 54 suites, a pool hall, a dining room that it It had a dining hall of the finest, better than the finest white-only hotels downtown. And then there was Simon Berry. While the city's taxis refused to pick up Black passengers, Berry didn't just start a cab company, he built a transportation empire. He operated a bus line, a fleet of Model T jitneys, and eventually, get this, a private air charter service. He was literally flying oil barons across the state in the 1920s. Then you have the Williams family. They gave the community its heartbeat with the Dreamland Theater, a 750-seat palace where you could see the latest films and live vaudeville. They also owned a confectionery and an auto repair garage. These weren't just mom and pop shops. These were sophisticated corporations. But the real hidden history, it was the professional class. Greenwood had its own hospital, two newspapers, the Tulsa Star and the Oklahoma Sun, and 15 world-class physicians. Think about Mabel B. Little. She arrived in Tulsa with $1.50 in her pocket and built the Little Rose Beauty Salon, eventually becoming a real estate mogul. Or Ellis Walker Woods, the legendary principal of Booker T. Washington High School, who supposedly walked 500 miles from Tennessee just to take the job. They had a literacy rate that rivaled any city in the country. This was a place where a Black child could grow up, see a Black doctor, a Black lawyer, and a Black pilot, all on the same block. So when we talk about Black Wall Street, let's remember, it wasn't a gift, it was a grit-fueled miracle. It was proof that when we pool our resources together and protect our vision, there is no ceiling. The massacre destroyed the brick and mortar, but the blueprint for that level of excellence is still in our DNA. All right, on to our book club, where we are still reading The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And we are still on Agreement 2, Breaking Generational Patterns of Taking Things to Heart. So many of us grew up in environments where everything felt personal. Tone, looks, silence, attitudes. We learn to read from the room for survival. But Ruiz challenges us to unlearn that reflex. And African American wisdom reminds us every battle ain't yours. Taking everything personally keeps us in a constant state of defense. It drains our spirit. It keeps us tied to old wounds. But when we release that pattern, we reclaim our emotional space. We stop carrying burdens that were never ours. Give yourself permission to break the cycle. You don't have to internalize every moment, every mood, every misunderstanding. So ask yourself this: what emotional habits did I inherit that I'm ready to release? Clock it. All right, our cause of the day is ALS, or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. It is a progressive neurodegenerative disease that affects nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord, leading to muscle weakness and loss of mobility. Symptoms include muscle twitching, weakness in the arms or legs, difficulty speaking or swallowing, stiff muscles, trouble walking, and progressive loss of movement. There's no known prevention. Treatments are medications that slow the progression, physical therapy, speech therapy, respiratory support, and assistive devices. If you would like more information on ALS, there's the ALS Association. Contact a neurologist or the multidisciplinary ALS clinics in your local area. ALS is rare, but it's devastating. Awareness matters because early intervention helps people maintain independence longer. All right, now on to Mr. Evans' history segment. Today in history, in 1473 was the birth of Nicholas Copernicus, the astronomer who proposed the heliocentric model, placing the sun at the center of the universe. He was born in Poland. In 1600, we have the Wynaputtia Huaynaputia volcano erupts. Peru's Huaynaputia produced the most violent volcanic eruption in South America recorded in history, causing global climate effects. And in 1807, former U.S. President Aaron Burr was arrested. He was arrested in Alabama on charges of treason, marking one of the most dramatic political scandals in early U.S. history. All right, on to African American history. In 1919, Pan-African Congress convenes in Paris. Led by W.E.B. Du Bois, the Congress demanded global racial equality and African self-determination, a blueprint for global Black liberation. And in 1942, Tuskegee Airmen activated. The first Black military aviators began training, they're later becoming one of the most decorated Unions of World War II. Their excellence shattered racist myth in disguise. And in 1992, John Singleton becomes the youngest Best Actor nominee. At just 24, Singleton was nominated for Boys in the Hood, becoming the first African American nominated for Best Director. He brought our stories to the big screen with honesty and heart. And on to our African American scientists and inventors, Granville T. Woods, the Black Edison. Granville Woods held over 60 patents, including the multiplex telegraph that allowed trains to communicate and avoid collisions. His innovations transformed transportation safety. Next up, we have Otis Boykin, the pacemaker innovator. Otis Boykin created the resistor that made pacemakers more reliable and affordable. His invention keeps hearts beating around the world. And Valerie Thomas, 3D imaging pioneer. Valerie Thomas invented the illusion transmitter, NASA technology that laid the groundwork for 3D imaging using medicine, movies, and scientific visualization. All right, that concludes Mr. Evans' history segment. All right, on to back to roots, where we are spotlighting the migration, the Middle Passage, what was taken and what survived, the forced migration and the cultural memory that endured. We're facing a hard truth with a soft heart, the Middle Passage. Millions of Africans were taken from their homelands and forced into Americas. But even in the deepest suffering, something powerful happened. Our culture survived the crossing. They tried to strip our ancestors of language, names, and identity, but rhythm survived. Spirituality survived. Foodways survived. Healing practices survived. And storytelling survived. And also community survived. The drum patterns of West Africa became the heartbeat of gospel, blues, jazz, hip hop, and R&B. African spiritual systems blended hoodoo, voodoo, Santeria, and candomblé. African farming knowledge shaped Southern agriculture. African resistance strategies fueled revolutions in Haiti, Jamaica, Brazil, and the US. The Middle Passage was meant to break us. Instead, it shattered our culture across the world, and we rebuild ourselves everywhere we landed. All right, down the rabbit hole we go. Topic today is, if America has so much empty land, why do we still have homelessness? So we're digging into a question that frustrates millions of people. Drone footage shows abandoned towns, empty fields, unused buildings, and people online still ask, why can't we just put people there? So let's break it down according to the internet. First, the US absolutely has land. What it doesn't have is infrastructure. Empty land often lacks water, sewage, transportation, hospitals, schools, jobs, grocery stores, and emergency services. So you can't just drop people in the middle of nowhere and call it a solution. Second, zoning laws make it extremely difficult to build affordable housing. Many cities restrict multifamily units, tiny homes, shelters, or transitional housing. These laws were historically rooted in segregation, and their impact still shows today. So in other words, until we get someone competent in office to change these laws, to make it whereas cities this and zone that and pretty much make up excuses on why they can't build more housing. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. All right. Third, homelessness isn't just about housing. It's about mental health, addiction, domestic violence, poverty, medical debt, lack of affordable rent, low wage isn't what we can't. I hate this. So the conspiracy isn't that we can't house people. It's that the system is not designed. Oh no, here we go again. America doesn't have land shortage. America has poverty.
Hi, everyone. She will be back shortly. We're having some technical difficulties with her device, so just give her 1 second and she'll be back. And she will pick up where she started from. I appreciate your patience. Bless up yourselves from Lux Radio Network. Hello. Thank you guys for tuning in and staying tuned in. She's having some technical difficulties because of the weather today. So we are going to wrap up the show. she's not able to come back, like her device is not working properly. So we definitely appreciate you for tuning in. Daddy, I love you. Ray, I love you. Thank you, Diamante, for tuning in. Thank you, baby, for tuning in. Who else tuned in? Kino, or is it? Yeah, Kino. Thank you guys. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Bless up yourselves.